I call to order the sixth meeting of the 14th session of the Committee on Science and Technology. Distinguished delegates, I would like to inform you of how I propose to proceed with our work in this meeting. I would first take up all the proposals of draft decisions for adoption by agenda item. And after all the decisions are adopted, I will open the floor for statements by regional and interest groups. After that, we will take up the item on elections of officers. Then we will continue with the adoption of the report of the CST for the session. After that, we will take up the item on election of officers other than the chair. I take it that this proposal is agreeable to all. I now invite the committee to resume its consideration of item 2 entitled Items Resulting from the Work Program of the Science Policy Interface for the biennium 2018 to 2019, with its sub-item A entitled Refined Guidance for Implementation of Land Degradation Neutrality under Objective 1, to take action on the draft decision. In connection with this item, the committee has before it a draft decision entitled Follow-up on the Work Program of the Science Policy Interface for the biennium 2018 to 2019, Objective 1, issued as ICCDCOP14/CSTL1, available in all UN languages. I would also like to announce an oral correction to the draft decision. The subheading between the preambular part and the first operative paragraph, reading Refined Guidance for the Implementation of Land Degradation Neutrality, was deleted due to an editorial error. The mentioned subheading will be reinstated in the final decision. May I take it that the committee wishes to adopt the draft decision contained in document ICCD/COP14/CST/L1 as orally corrected? Hearing no objection, it is so decided. Now I invite the committee to resume its consideration of agenda item 2 entitled Items Resulting from the Work Program of the Science Policy Interface for the biennium 2018 to 2019, with its subheading B entitled Guidance to Support the Adoption and Implementation of Land-Based Interventions for Drought Management and Mitigation under Objective 2, to take action on the draft decision. In connection with this item, the committee has before it a draft decision entitled follow up on the work program of the Science Policy Interface for the biennium 2018 to 2019. Objective 2, issued as ICCD/COP14/CST/L5. May I take it that the committee wishes to adopt the draft proposal contained in document ICCD/COP14/CST/L5. Hearing no objection, it is so decided. I now invite the committee to resume its consideration of agenda item 2, entitled Items Resulting from the Work Program of the Science Policy Interface for the biennium 2018 to 2019, with its sub-item C, entitled Coordination Activities of the Science Policy Interface Work Program 2018 to 2019. In connection with this item, the committee has before it a draft decision entitled Policy-Oriented Recommendations Resulting from the Cooperation with Other Intergovernmental Scientific Panels and Bodies, issued as ICCD/COP14/CST/L6. May I take it that the committee wishes to adopt the draft decision contained in document ICCD/COP14/CST/L6? Hearing no objection, it is so decided. The committee has thus concluded its consideration of sub-items A, B, and C of agenda item 2 and agenda item 2 as a whole. I now invite the committee to resume its consideration of agenda item 3, sub-item A, entitled The Science Policy Interface, the UNCCD Knowledge Hub, and the Analysis, Dissemination, and Accessibility of Best Practices, to take action on the draft decision. In connection with this item, the committee has before it a draft decision entitled Interfacing Science and Policy and Sharing Knowledge, issued as ICCD/COP14/CST/L2, available in all UN languages. May I take it that the committee wishes to adopt the draft proposal contained in document ICCD/COP14/CST/L2? Hearing no objection, it is so decided. I now invite the committee to resume its consideration of agenda item 3, sub-item B, entitled Work Program of the Science Policy Interface for the biennium 2020 to 2021, to take action on the draft decision. In connection with this item, the committee has before it a draft decision entitled Work Program of the Science Policy Interface for the biennium 2020 to 2021, issued as ICCD/COP14/CST/L3. May I take it that a committee wishes to adopt the proposal contained in document ICCD/COP14/CST/L3? Hearing no objection, it is so decided. I now invite the committee to resume its consideration of agenda item 3, sub-item C, entitled Monitoring Framework for the Strategic Objective on Drought. In connection with this item, I would like to recall the committee that relevant discussions have been held in joint Creek CST contact group, and the relevant CST matters were agreed and further integrated in a final draft decision to be submitted for adoption under the Creek. Are there any comments on this agenda sub-item? Yeah. Since there are no comments, the committee has thus concluded its consideration of sub-item A, B, and C of agenda item 3, and the agenda item 3 as a whole. I now invite the committee to resume its consideration of agenda item 4, entitled Procedural Matters, Program of Work for the 15th session of the Committee on Science and Technology, and to take action on the draft decision. In connection with this item, the committee has before it a draft decision entitled Program of Work for the 15th session of the Committee on Science and Technology, issued as ICCD/COP14/CST/L4, available in all UN languages. May I take it that the committee wishes to adopt the draft decision contained in document ICCD/COP14/CST/L4? Hearing no objection, it is so decided. The committee has thus concluded its considerations of agenda item 4. I would now like to open the floor for statements on the work completed today and the decisions adopted. Delegates wishing to take the floor may press the button in front of them. See Egypt. Egypt, you have the floor.
شكرا.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like at the outset to express my deepest respect and appreciation to my joint work with the CST. And I would like to submit two proposals. First of all, the CST has been facing tremendous efforts during this session because of the lack of time and resources. We have been working from early hours in the morning till after midnight, and such working hours exceed our normal capacities. Second, we have reached the venue 2 days after the end of the meetings held by the various regional groups. That's why we could not attend the early stages of these meetings. When we arrived here, the regional groups had started their meetings 2 days earlier. That's why, in my own capacity and on behalf of the Arab group, I would like to submit a kind request to extend the working days of the CST by 1 day at least. This will reduce the pressure and the efforts that we are deploying, and this will enable us also to enjoy enough time so that we can fulfill our mandate. We also hope that we will be able to attend the beginnings of the meetings held by the various regional groups. It is unthinkable to see us arrive here 2 days after the beginning of these meetings, and we are working on decisions that were taken while we were still absent. I also had the honor of attending the meetings of the African group held in South Africa, but I don't think other colleagues had the same opportunity. I would like to thank you, and I thank you in advance for considering my request. Our ultimate objective is, of course, to rationalize the working procedures within the CST. Thank you.
Egypt, we have taken note of your concerns, and your request will be inserted in the proceedings of the Conference of Parties. I now give the floor to India.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. India appreciated the innovative work done by the Committee of Science and Technology, and also the distinguished delegates who participated during the various negotiation process in the contact group in the late night also. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, India. Niger, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, let me first of all, on behalf of the African group, congratulate all those who have contributed in achieving this great success. Chair, I would like first of all, on behalf of the African group, to congratulate the facilitator, the chair of this committee, and the secretariat, and also all those who have worked late in the night to achieve this agreement. Chair, I would like to make a special request. Colleagues have worked hard late in the night, make several contributions. As we are about to start the high-level segment, parties will be receiving their ministers, and it will be good if the draft agreement that we reach can be shared with all the parties so that they will be able to brief their various ministers. Thank you very much, Chair, for your kind attention.
Thank you, Niger, for your comments. Are there any other delegations wishing to make comments? I see no request for the floor. I therefore wish to thank you for your comments. Distinguished delegates, I invite the committee to turn its attention to the consideration of agenda item 5, entitled Adoption of the Report of the Committee on Science and Technology. I have the pleasure to give the floor to Mr. Ahmet Senyaz of Turkey, Vice Chair and Rapporteur of the committee, to give us a brief summary of the outcomes of this session of CST. Mr. Senyaz, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Chairman, distinguished delegates, the Committee on Science and Technology has met 5 times, where parties had interesting discussions on topics ranging from work program of the Science Policy Interface for the biennium 2018-2019 to monitoring framework for the strategic objective on drought. The CST Pro had proposed to formulate on contact group to discuss the decisions under the CST, which was accepted by the CST. The first meeting of the CST contact group was held on Tuesday, 3 September. The CST contact group met 4 times and discussed and agreed upon 6 draft decisions. A joint CST Creek contact group was held on Tuesday, 5 September to discuss on matters related to drought indicator. The information agreed by the joint CST Creek contact group will be integrated in one of the Creek draft decisions. Please allow me, Mr. Chair, to share some reflections on my experience as a reporter for the last 2 years. As we all, the objective of the UNCCD is to combat desertification, land degradation, and impacts of drought. Since its establishment, the UNCCD Conference of the Parties has made many decisions. To me, there are 2 important turning points in implementing the convention. First is the UNCCD 2018-2030 strategic framework that guides the activities of the parties at the regional and national level, taking into consideration of synergies between the conventions and sustainable development goals, especially Target 15.3, aiming at land degradation neutrality. Second is the scientific and technological supports provided by Committee on Science and Technology in implementing policy decisions. Since its establishment, CST as a subsidiary body of the UNCCD provided scientific supports, especially on defining indicators for the measurements of progress impacts on the convention. However, we have to accept that establishment of science policy interface in 2013 by the parties enabled CST to gain speed in conducting scientific activities. Scientific reports and deliverables produced by SPI became essential reference sources for the practitioners. Scientific Conceptual Framework for LDN was the key publication that defines principles of LDN and that guides decision makers in understanding and implementing LDN. As Bureau members, during the term of 2 years, we worked in cooperation and tried to help each other. CST assumed great responsibility in revising SPI members, taking into consideration of thematic issues and parties' expectations from CST. We, as Bureau members, selected by 5 regions, had an opportunity to work with 10 international, 5 regional scientists and 5 observers from FAO, WMO, IUCN, UN Environment, and CSOs. We CST Bro members build a partnership with SPI members and try to bring their attention to policy issues and regions' expectations. And sometimes we shared our experiences and activities that relates policy issues and implementations. Mr. Chair, during our term, 3 technical reports were produced by SPI. I hope policy recommendations made by the report will support decision makers who are dealing with DLDD. Started in Ordos, our responsibilities now are about to finalize. I wish success our successors. I would like to take the opportunity to thank Jones Karika, Baron Orr, Ömer Raja, Mariam Akhtar Schuster, SPI members, and CST Bureau members, and colleagues from Secretariat for their sincere collaboration. Finally, I would like to thank Government of India for this great organization, and I would like to thank Indian people for showing us warm friendship. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I thank the rapporteur for this statement. Are there any comments on the report of the rapporteur? Those wishing to comment can press the button. I see no request for comments. May I take it that the committee is ready to approve the draft report of this session on the understanding that the rapporteur will complete it with the assistance of the Secretariat. This time there is no comment, and therefore wishing to see whether we are ready to approve the draft report. I hear no objection. It is so decided. The committee has thus concluded its consideration of agenda item 5. I now invite the committee to consider sub-items B of agenda item 1 entitled Election of Officers other than the Chair of the Committee on Science and Technology. Pursuant to paragraph 2 of decision 25/COP10, which amended Rule 31 of the Rules of Procedures of the COP, the Vice Chairs of the Committee on Science and Technology shall be elected at the final meeting of the session of the committee held in conjunction with the session of the COP, and shall assume their office immediately. Each subsidiary body shall elect 4 vice chairs, one of whom shall act as rapporteur. In connection with this decision, the committee has before it 4 candidates to be elected as its vice chairs. Ms. Anna Louise of Italy, Mr. Ratko Ristic of Serbia, Mr. Pablo Vegas of Argentina, Ms. Karma Dima Dorji of Bhutan. May I take it that the committee wishes to elect Ms. Anna Louise of Italy, Mr. Ratko Ristic of Serbia, Mr. Pablo Viegas of Argentina, and Ms. Karma Dema Dorji of Bhutan as vice chairs of the Committee on Science and Technology? I hear no objection. It is so decided. The committee has thus concluded its consideration of sub-item B of agenda item 1. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we have thus completed our program of work for the 14th session of the Committee on Science and Technology. Before closing this session, I would like to share a few reflections with you. By successfully completing the order of work for this session, this committee has demonstrated by the excellent quality of decisions that have been formulated for consideration of the COPs, that it is committed to ensure that our convention succeeds. The excellent decisions are certainly the output of your determination and cooperation, as well as the quality of the dialogue which transpired during plenary. I sincerely wish to express my deep appreciation to the contact group for the tremendous work and cooperation that it exhibited. In fact, the contact group seemed to have no rest. They've worked throughout the day and throughout the night for us to succeed. Distinguished delegates, you have provided the necessary scientific underpinnings for policies that are needed to stem the tide of land degradation and the effect of drought and desertification. I think that we have made history given the volume of work that has been accomplished in these few days. And I encourage all of us to celebrate this success. I wish to particularly thank our facilitator, the facilitator for the contact group, for his great commitment. I must say that he was not proud to his coming, but when we requested his assistance, he voluntarily placed himself at our disposal. Professor Mati Numelin accepts our appreciation. I also wish to thank the Secretariat for the tremendous support that they have given this committee. In fact, they've created the conditions for us to have all the enthusiasm and all the motivation to deliver. Finally, I wish to thank all delegates for the immense cooperation that has enabled me to chair this session. On this note, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I hereby close the 14th session of the Committee on Science and Technology. And before I adjourn the meeting, I would invite the Secretary to make an announcement.
Thank you, Chair. Delegates are invited to remain seated as the COP plenary will start shortly after the adjournment of the CST. Thank you.
This meeting is adjourned.
Your report, then it's like this.